Oh. 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 Sairam, everyone. Just
Sairam.
quick. Welcome.
We welcome Mani Bhashyam. Sister is there. Mani Bhashyam.
Sairam. I'm here.
So we will start the study circle by recollecting what we were discussing last week. Swami is talking about, I think we are in chapter 15.
Oh, okay. I'm not joining the first time here, in the afternoon Saturday. So I didn't know about it. I have 15 chapters, is it?
It's 15th chapter, Auntie. You have to go back.
Okay, I will go. Okay.
So Swami is talking about sannyasis, Swami is telling who is a real sannyasi, and whether the stage of sannyasa is needed. The sannyasi should be someone who has given up all desires, just wearing ochre robe or having hair, long hair, or shaving it. None of this really makes a person sannyasi. So I think that's what we were discussing last week. So if I remember correctly. So I think we can continue from there. Sisters, please.
Bhakta. In that case, Swami, what about the statement, Guru-less Vidya is sightless Vidya? It is essential to rely on some great person, is it not? To show the way, I mean. Swami. Great men have not vanished from the face of the earth, my child. Do not think that all are of the type you mentioned. There are many great men even now. Otherwise, how could the world have daylight, as the saying goes?
So I think it's, I think the devotees worried, the Lord, everyone is bad in this world. There's no genuine person, no guru who can guide. And then for that, Swami is saying, don't think everyone is like that. Don't lose heart. I think that's the point which Swami is trying to make, because he says the world will not have daylight even if they are not existent. I think in Tamil, I guess, is if there's one good person in a city or a country, the entire country will be prospering or something like that. There will be rain. If for one person's sake, if it rains, everyone will be benefited by the rain. So Swami also has said, even his own avatar took place because of great devotees praying that they want to have. So when the Lord comes, everyone will benefit. So it's the same thing. I think one person will plant a tree and a lot of people will eat from that. So that's what Swami is trying to say. So I will stop here and I will open it up for any discussion or sharing comments. Sairam. I guess it's nothing to discuss, I guess, so we can move to the next slide. Mr. Kalyani.
Bhakta. Great men may exist among grahastas, vanaprasthas, or brahmacharis, Swami. I haven't much experience with such, but still, I have seen among them people with big name and fame. However, I can say this. It is very difficult to discover really holy men among sannyasis. It is impossible to find a single sannyasi without some desire or other. When sannyasis have so much desire, what is wrong if householders have them? To whichever place we go, the one demand is money, money, money. Swami, really speaking, sannyasis should have no desire, as you said. Lust and greed are their dreadful enemies. They should have no contact with them. They can accept only whatever little food is given, whenever it is offered. That is all. They can have no desire for more. That is the vow, the rule. They have nothing to do with money.
I think it's there's nothing much for me to comment here at this point in time. I would open it up. Swami is clearly saying, talking only about sannyasis in this case, actually. Swami is not talking about other people belonging to the other ashramas. So I think the question itself says that there are people, but it's very difficult or one cannot see. But Swami says how we can distinguish among sannyasi who is genuine and who is not. So I'll stop here and I will open it up for any thoughts from the participants.
So, Saram, brother, I like the last line. They can accept only whatever little food is given. There's a big message behind into that one, because they are out of the desire and attachment. So they cannot cook. The reason when they cook, Shastra stays saying, you are going to do 5 sins there. 5 sins mean when you have to make the food, cut it, and sometimes you have to make it powder, or you have to clean it, then you have to boil it, then you have to clean the place. During that time, you are killing so many insects that will create some level of sin. So then Krakasta also, so they are taking this kind of sins. That's what sannyasi is going there, asking the food to explain what is behind in that one, to reduce the sin, because we have to eat. So we have to do all these 5 kind of things. In order to avoid the thing, that's what they are saying, you have to offer the food to Brahma, other gods, and the people who are coming to your home are expected people, or sometimes some people come without expecting, some other creatures. So this kind of thing, if you offer to that one, your sins going to be reduced. So thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
Okay, go ahead, sister.
Swami, what he wants to say is that, the number of fake sannyasis have increased so much in nowadays that you don't find a single sannyasi without desire or anything, other things. So sannyasis are supposed to beg food and eat. That's correct. But here what we are actually seeing is something different, because every sannyasi demands money. To whichever place he goes, the one demand is money. And Swami is saying, do. Everywhere they go and they demand. That's wrong thing. So Swami is very much against this kind of practice which sannyasis have. But when the explanation is given by them is, we want to maintain our ashramas, so we want money. That's the only explanation which they give when they demand money. So I don't know. Swami is very clearly explaining to the bhakta, saying that don't be carried away by all these fake sannyasis. Sairam.
Sairam. Brother Sivadas, you wanted to say something?
No. I just want to comment on that. line which Brother Dasan said. So, I have been speaking here about the Aparigraham, Aparigraham. So Bhagawan said in Gita Vahini, I still remember, this should be there, that Parigraha is a great sin. Accepting anything under any condition is great sin. So I was thinking that the renunciants are exempt from that rule. But here Baba is saying here, they can accept only whatever little food is given. Whenever it is offered, that is all. So Bhagavan does not give even a chance to beg. Bhagavan is trying to say, okay, so you totally rely on, renunciants totally rely on God. So God can give food. For example, Swami Vivekananda, when he was going through forest area, he was actually hungry. But because being a yogi, he was just going. At the time, in the forest, in the middle of the forest, there appeared a lady with food and everything. And when Swami came close by, and she offered son, have sit here and eat this food and go. And soon after, the food is eaten, and the lady is vanished. So that is the real sannyasin. So even sannyasin, it looks, cannot beg food. So if the food is given, they can accept only when little food is given. Whenever it is offered, that is all Bhavan is saying. I don't know the English translation is exactly as in Telugu. So the English here, it shows that even sannyasin can take the accept the food when it is offered. Brother, please shed light, sister, brother, and others can shed light on this one.
Okay.
Thank you, Saira.
Sairam. I think Sister Anita has raised her hand. Please go ahead, Sister Anita. You have any question or comment?
Yes, brother. Sairam. I think, like, according to me, sometimes we are a little bit confused between a sannyasi, a yogi, and the babas, which are all over India, the babas especially. Isn't sannyasi a person who has taken, like, sannyas means divorce from the world, and they have minimal requirements from the worldly needs? It's just survival. So they would live on fruits and milk and stuff like that. Or it, like, a yogi and sannyasi are so kind of synonymous terms. Maybe you can touch upon that, please.
Okay. Okay, Sister.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sairam. Anyone else would like to comment, please?
Sairam, this is Akwanti. Grihasthans are expected to give a small amount to the sannyasis when they come to the doorstep. That is one of their duties.
Yeah.
So this is what it was said in the Satsarita too. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
So, Brother Sivadas, the answer to your question is, Swami, this is what Swami says. Edo chikkina chota inta aharamu swikarinchavalanu. Auntie, that's page 267, Auntie, at the end. Edo chikkina chota means whatever little, chikkina means whatever you obtain. Inta aharam, chikkina chota inta means whatever little they get, they should be happy. They can accept it. That's what Swami says. Brother Sivadas, for your question. Yes. Yes, Brother Rajagopal.
Sairam, Swami says that if he's a real sannyas, he don't worry about that his food or his shelter and everything. God will look after you. Like Brother Siddharth said that about
Swami Vivekananda, yeah.
Yes, if people recognize that he's a real sannyasi, the people bring the food for his footstep. No, he don't worry about it until he saw his character to the people. Until then, he has to worry about. But if he is real sannyasi, he don't worry about his future or his living. That's my opinion. Thank you, sir.
Sairam. Brother Dasan, you can speak.
Yeah, so the reason is because we need energy in order to do our seva or sannyasi state. So people get hungry. So the people who have give up the desire and attachment, they are the one have the right to go and ask the food. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to? See, I think one of the things because we should understand, all of us, I guess, we are in different states other than sannyasa, on this study circle. So I think the question we should ask is, so what exactly is relevant for us from this question and answer? Because I don't think Swami has put this question and answer so that we will say, oh, that sannyasi is doing this sannyasi is doing. I think it's the meaning is sort of hidden, because in the question it says, among grahasthas, vanaprasthas, brahmacharis, also there are people. And then what about sannyasi is the question. So I think from the answer, I think what comes through is, Swami is saying, irrespective of the ashrama in which you are, whether you consider this you are a brahmachari, or whether you are in the stage of grahastha, or in the case of vanaprastha, or even a sannyasi, there should not be lust or greed. If those two are not present, anyone can be a sannyasi, not in form. There are sannyasis in the form and there are sannyasis in behavior, just like a brahmana by birth and brahmana by behavior. So I think Swami wants us to understand that even whatever stage we are in, whatever ashrama we are in, we should not have desire for more. They can have no desire for more. That's the word Swami said. So at no point, then we are all sannyasis. As Sister Anita was saying, these real sannyasis, basically they give up the world and then go and they can beg. Whether we like it or not, even when we go to work, actually we are begging. We are begging for money. But for that begging happens with some effort which we are putting, and then money is given to us. Swami says job itself is like a begging bowl. So the thing is, and I think the key to become a sannyasi in whichever stage of life we are is by not having too much to do with money. We should not want more. We should be happy with whatever we are given by the Lord. So I thought those are thoughts which came to me, so I thought I would share. I will again open it up for anyone to share any thoughts. If not, we can proceed.
I think Swami is speaking about the sannyasis here mean those who have renounced their grahastha and then those who have gone to the next stage of sannyasa. That's what I feel. Those, particularly these sannyasis Swami is mentioning about. Is it?
Yes.
Or
Swami is very tricky sometimes, Auntie. So, he will say, who is a sannyasi? Who is in the path of Sat? Sannyasi is sannyasi, Swami has defined.
Yeah, correct.
See, one is ashrama. Again, who is a brahmana? Swami will say, who is moving towards Brahma. Brahman is
Brahmana.
Okay, so I think you are right. Swami is also talking specifically about sannyasis who are already projecting themselves as sannyasis, that they have to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
But I think it's also an opportunity for others who are not in that path
Yeah.
also to live like a sannyasi,
Yeah,
even though we are not.
Yeah, being in Grihasthashram also one can become sannyasi.
Yeah, that's what brother is saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both are applicable. Swami, you know, when he gives one shot, he breaks two mangoes.
Gives two mangoes here.
So, and many maybe. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Here the Swami is mentioning one more point. Here nowadays, they're wearing that cloth, the pink color, orange cloth, and for the name, for the fame, they're just pretending. So the people they're asking money. So we cannot believe those kind of things. That's what Swami expressing that one also. So you have to identify those people carefully. If they are attached to the money and everything, they cannot teach the spiritual path. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you. Because I think, Brother Dasan, you have brought up a point. Because the whole thing is about Guru, you know. Who should we listen to in this world? What is their motive? Are they greedy, or are they, you know? One has to look at them, and then only you can, listen to them or follow them or get some understanding. I think that's what Swami is trying to say.
Yeah.
You are right, sir, brother. Anyone else has something? Otherwise, we will move to the next slide. If it's okay.
Sannyasis who have taken the role of Guru.
Yeah.
That is where the difference stands. Sannyasis who wear that ochre robe and say that I am going to give you the diksha, this and that, you know, they take up the role of a guru and then mantra diksha, this one and that one they give. No, such gurus the Swami is talking about.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So even among sannyasis, Bhagavan is talking about the people who put up ashram and give a large scale diksha, initiation, large scale initiation, and that is very common in the nowadays world. So Bhagavan is warning, that's one. Even the next passage is also the same thing he is talking about them. Okay, thank you, Saira.
So, Sister Kalyani, we can move to the next slide.
Bhakta. Well, Swami, excuse me. Sannyasis are perpetually in need of money. No householder worries so much as they for money. They exploit and extract from the disciples their hard-earned cash. Those who do not give are condemned. Is this right? Is all this right, Swami? Is this just? Are these people gurus? Swami, no wise person will say that these things are just. How can I say it is right? Why, can you not ask such sannyasis once? Sirs, why do you need cash? Is it not wrong for you to have this craving for the fame that comes through money?
Okay, I think there's nothing much for me to add here. I will again open it up for discussion. Swami.
I think we can go some.
Okay, we can then move on to the next slide also.
And everything comes together and we can discuss. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Bhakta. Oh, I have asked them, Swami. Swami, what did they say? Bhakta. Some said they wanted money for their expenses. Others said they wanted to develop their ashram further. Many such reasons were given. For those who have learned to argue, reason giving is not very hard. It is only when it comes to believing that we have to choose and discriminate, isn't it?
Maybe next.
Swami, the Guru must engage himself in the progress of the disciples who come to him for guidance, and not the ashram. The ashrita disciple is more important than the ashram. The excitement, the anxiety about the ashram becomes itself a huge shramam or burden. It is on account of this that people lose even the little faith and devotion that they had and are transformed into atheists. Such gurus, instead of giving up all ties, have yoked themselves tighter. They are beasts of burden, rather. My dear fellow, listen to me. Do not cast your looks upon the guru who inflicts pressure on a disciple to extract money. Keep as far away as possible from such persons. Do not lose faith by contact with them. Preserve it and develop it all by yourself.
Thank you, sister. So I think Swami, there's nothing much for me to add. Swami is very telling us, because what happens is all seekers get deluded by people who think they're leading them or teaching them. And if the disciple does not ask the right questions as to what they are trying to do, are they in there for themselves, or are they in there for the sake of the devotee or the follower or the disciple? Then it's a big problem. So it's a big warning, Swami is saying, because in reality, everyone wants somebody to follow. And Swami wants everyone to be very careful to choose. As you can say in the previous page, Swami is saying, if you want to have faith, you need to discriminate. I don't know, Sister Kalyani, the previous, so see what Swami is saying. See, for those who have learned to argue, reason giving is not very hard. People will give all sorts of reasons. But Swami says it's only when it comes to believing that we have to choose and discriminate. So whatever we choose in life, whatever person who think we should follow, whatever path we choose to follow, we need to discriminate and realize for ourselves whether it is definitely going to take us to the goal. If we do not ask that question, just blindly listening to certain type of arguments and reasons, we will not reach where we want to. I think that's what Swami is very clearly saying. So I will just open it up for a discussion. Saira. Yes, Brother Dasan. You are muted, brother.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is the reason we have to participate in the study circle. We have to understand the spiritual. Once you understand what is the discrimination, what is desire, what is faith, then we can easily identify. Then, okay, nowadays they are working, most of the places, they can talk very well, even attract the people. The people are attracted to the talk, and eventually they give the money, and eventually they're going to lose everything. So we have to identify, try to be with a good association, learn something, whatever we are learning from the study circle, then you can escape from there. You can achieve your goal too. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, we can see that always Bhagawan is against collecting money for teaching. Everybody will agree here. So, education must be given free. That's Bhagavan's policy always. So when we, as people in the present world, we can see they will deliver lecture with the payment of ticket. We have to buy a ticket and pay the money. It could be asanas or anything. It be asanas or just lecture. This is prevalent in the current world. Any spiritual knowledge, even any education should be free. That's what Bhavan says. even spiritual knowledge, in the case of spiritual knowledge, it should be given totally free. So on the pretext of building ashram, and we are serving the poor, and at any cost. That is a Bhagavan was used very stressed that on parigraha. Parigraha, accepting anything under any condition is great sin. Always we should give, not accept. So whatever that we know, whatever knowledge we have, whatever talent, whatever that body, everything we got it from the nature and community. So we have to pay it back actually. So accepting money, especially for spiritual imparting knowledge, is against shastras. That's what. So in these all cases, Bhagavan is warning that when we are paying money and learning, that is actually, that's fake. That's what Bhagavan is trying to say. Thank you, Sairam. Others can add to that. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sir, there's an institution, that ashram, there are expenses too, that we cannot demand the money that Swami says.
Actually.
If give some donation that's willing to give that, acceptable. That's not.
That's also correct. Rajagopal is correct. So out of your thankfulness, and if you on your own accord, if you are giving, that's different. But demanding money is totally wrong.
That institute need the money to run that. Without money, that we can run it. We don't have to demand that. The people coming there, they understand that, and they will look after it, I guess. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
As Guru Dakshina, people can definitely donate. There is no problem, because if they are getting some kind of knowledge or some kind of training from some guru, they can give it as Guru Dakshina, and no guru has any right to demand. Donations will come off automatically if we believe in it.
Yeah, sure.
Sai.
So I think it's reasonably clear. I think Brother Sivadas also brought up the topic about school, any education. Yes, Swami was very particular. That's one reason Swami always was very insistent that any Sathya Sai school should not have fees. Because if we are saying we are teaching values, then Swami said they should not be charging money. Those are things which Swami has also talked about. So I think that was a valid point. So we will go to the next slide, Sister Kalyani, if it's okay.
Bhakta, we go to such people eager to learn the higher things of life and to know the path for the attainment of the Lord. We seek and search for them, for we do not know which snakes live in which hole. But we find these cobra sannyasis and are shocked. The anxious desire that they exhibit for the ashram, is not that also wrong, Swami? If they want to serve the public like that, they can as well be just ordinary people and retain their original names and go about collecting funds and spending them, isn't it? Calling themselves sannyasis and wearing that dress, getting upadesham, spiritual instruction, taking upon themselves numerous vows at the time of initiation into monkhood, declaring that they have destroyed all desire. If later they follow the path of accumulation, is it not spoiling the very sacredness?
You can, okay. Yes, please. Please read that, Kalyan.
Swami, that individual may be spoiled. That is all, my dear fellow. The sacredness of sannyas can never be diminished. Do not run away with that idea. Of course, there are such men in the world today, but please do not include them in the list of sannyasis or swamis. They have no relationship with these two categories. They only do harm to their disciples by retaining those designations. Do not even spend a single thought on them.
Okay, thank you, Sister Kalyani. I think there's not much for me to dwell on this. If anyone has any thoughts, please share. As Swami has said, don't even spend a single thought on them. So I will open it up for any comments the members have.
At the same time, Swami is saying that all sannyasis are not bad.
Yes, yeah.
All sannyasis are not bad, and there are good people who are really doing a lot of spiritual work and then trying to help seekers. But at the same time, you find the other type of other category also, but don't include them in the list of sannyasis or swamis.
Yeah.
That's Swami's decision.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you.
That state, the being sannyasi, that state is always holy, but people misuse it. But that becoming a sannyasi, that tradition is holy and valid. Bhagawan is saying, and only the one thing we have to note it here, what Bhagawan is explaining indirectly, and so to upkeep the ashram. So the ashram become an attachment to the sannyasi. So what this ideal is, he will be totally not thinking of money, only the welfare of the disciples. So if he is the welfare of the disciples, say he is starting under a tree, and he gives Upadesam and make them good sannyasis and everything. But if it so happen, I think in the other paragraphs, I think, if it so happen, not like this directly, but the meaning is there. If it so happen that some disciple offers money and come forward to build an ashram for the Swami so that others can benefit. And if there is voluntary, no, not voluntary, what's it? Automatically they give money. That is okay, but the sannyasi should not get. He renounced the home, but again, if he is attached to the ashram, there is no. It does not serve any purpose. So that meaning is the Bhagavan is giving everywhere. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I thought I will just share. I mean, it's a story. I guess just to not too much discussion is going on, so I thought I will just share a story. Story from my student days. In 1979, Swami opened the Prashanti Nilayam College. When the Prashanti Nilayam College was opened, there was first year degree and first year 11th standard. Okay, it's high school, I would say, was started. There were about 120 students. The reality is there was no hostel and there was no college building. So most of our classes were taking place under trees. Swami got 2 rooms allocated from the Ishwaramba High School, a few rooms. So that is where the classes were being held. All science, arts, commerce, everything was happening there. And we were all given something like a shed, one large dormitory where all the students slept and got up. We had 2 by 2 feet, 2.5 feet by 6 feet was the space allocated to us. That was the only amount of space. We did not have cupboard, we did not have table, we did not have anything. And when this was going on, so this started in 79 June and till 80. So about 1.5 years, that's the way we lived. Swami started the college. No fees, just for hostel food only, I think 100 rupees was charged. Even that also Swami paid for many students. That is the way the school was running. But when this was going on, many VIPs will be coming. They are millionaires, multi-millionaires. With a small check, they could have built a college building and a hostel, but never. And they all know the students are staying here and all that. But no one offered, and Swami also never asked. Then I remember sometime in 1980, around April or something, there was one person called Mr. Singh. He was a very long-standing devotee from Calcutta. He used to come very regularly. And once he came and asked Swami, Swami, I want to bring my father. So Swami said, okay, bring him. So one day, this Mr. Singh, he himself was in his 60s or 70s, 60s, I think 60s. He brought his father, who was 90 years old, who was wheelchair bound for 25 years. So he brought, and Swami's, darshan, it's after darshan time, he said, come. And, because we were students, we were able to stand there and watch. So the wheelchair was brought, and then Swami said, stop. And near the, where the building starts, Swami's mandir starts, that was stopped. Swami walked all the way to him, gave his hand, and he said, stand up. And this person, who is 90 years old, had never stood up in his past 25 years. He was hesitating. He said, hold my hand. So he held his hand, and then with Swami's feet, Swami pressed his feet. Swami put his feet on his feet, and he just lifted him, and this person stood up. And then he said, walk with me. And then Swami walked with him all the way to the interview room. And this Singh, who is this 60 plus years old person, he was crying and running behind them, and Swami gave them an interview. I very clearly see, when they came back, this person couldn't control himself so much. And, both the father and son were happy, and they left. The person took his father back and then came back again. And Swami told Swami, Swami, I need to do something. Swami said, what do you want to do? He said, Swami, I will build hostel for your students. So that is the way that hostel was built for us. See, Swami never asked. For 1.5 years, our living conditions were not the best. But even though, it was an ashram, Swami never asked even a single time from any one of them. Though they were every day, there were at least 50, 60 millionaires, multi-millionaires who were there waiting for some problem to be solved by Swami. So Swami, so I was reminded of this, how Swami, who just to teach us that lesson, how we should run a place. I thought I would just share. Sorry if I have taken too much time, but about the money and ashram, it came up. So Prasanthi Nilayam itself came up like that. Swami never asked anyone, because Auntie Mani Basham is here. She has been seeing Swami from the 40s. How, it was such a backward place, absolutely no amenities. The living conditions were, we can't even imagine the poor living conditions. But Swami will never ask. There were Maharajas, Maharanis, all of them were coming. But Swami never asked. On their own, if they gave and offered, then it was accepted. So I thought I will just share that. Today, of course, the building is, it's a massive place, palace, but it didn't happen. For 30, 40 years, it was all a backward village. Sairam. Sairam, Auntie Mani, Auntie, you want to share something?
As far as the students, you people were concerned, you lived under such circumstances and studying. Hats off to you people, because, students who are so much used to the amenities and the facilities which they get at home, you are not given those things. But actually, you were sannyasis, I should call them. You deserve to be called as sannyasis, because with the minimum you managed. That is Swami's grace. Sairam.
Because once you have Swami, it's everything, you can do in Sairam. Brother Dasan, you can speak.
Yeah, even though if you take the Puttaparthi, I've been only once, that is the only one place. It's very difficult to give the money. There's no till boxes anywhere. Even if you wanted to give the money, it's very tough because you have to go to the bank and deposit that money. So the final day, I wanted to deposit the money. I don't have time. I have to give to somebody. Can you go and deposit the money? So they are not giving priority for the money that place. That is the only very good thing in the world. Another thing, the sannyasis, they wanted to teach something for the people. Their main motivation is to teach the self-realization and the good path to the people. So their ideas all on focus on that one. If they try to focus on the other side of the attachment and everything going to be collapsed. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Brother Sai. I think we will move on to the next slide, if it's okay.
Bhakta. All right, Swami. But there are some who have built ashrams and who are established as gurus. For them, this desire for money, etc., is wrong, is it not? Swami. Why do you ask? Have these people any special adornment, like horns on the head? Really speaking, these people have to be even more careful, for they train many disciples, and so they must make a special effort to see that the trainees acquire the right attitudes and get fully immersed in the contemplation of the Lord. Otherwise, much injury will be caused. If the Guru pays attention to the spiritual progress and inward joy of the disciples themselves will struggle for the development of the ashram. No one need exert any pressure. Instead, forgetting their progress, if he clamors for so much of money from this disciple and so much from this devotee for the development of his ashram, he will lose the ashram itself. The disciple will lose devotion and the Guru will lose his institution.
Sairam, sister. I think Swami is spending many pages on this topic.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why Swami is drilling it so much is, as sincere spiritual seekers, Swami does not want anyone to be misled by people who are there, who are building institutions, and money and all that. Swami wants us to be very careful. What we do, who do we choose, where are they taking us? I think these are questions which we should ask. Else, Swami says, we will lose our the little devotion we have. That's what the last sentence is. The disciple will lose devotion. So we run the risk of losing our own devotion if we do not choose right. I think that is the reason Swami is spending so many pages on this topic.
Yeah.
Because most spiritual seekers get misled, and that's the reason. I think I will stop here. Sairam, if anyone has something to say.
Sairam just make a point. Sometimes, Swami Vivekananda, everybody, when he was 30, he went to the Parliament of Religion to Chicago. And after 5 days speeches, the Bure, which arranges speeches, in general topics, they talked to him and they hired him. They hired Swami Vivekananda, and they took him wherever the speeches were arranged by this Bure, the company, and they were making money. They were ticket or by donation. I don't know that the money was collected, and Swami Vivekananda was paid a portion of that one. And that was totally general topics actually. The spiritual topics he gave free. So general topic, because he is well versatile. No? And the money, he brought the money and put up ashram in India. And through the spiritual lectures abroad, 3.5 years he stayed straight in one stretch. He stayed 3.5 years in America and Europe. Then he went back. When he went back, certain disciples, they sold their houses in their America or UK or Europe, and they took the money with him, and they helped build the ashram there. That is how the Belur Mutt came into being. So it is in the hard way. The Swami earned that money for a better cause, for the future of generations. So I just wanted to say, make this point here, that even though he was a sannyasin with the ochre robe, he labored and got the money. So anything without laboring, if we get money, that's a sin. That's a sin. So that part also better we remember it. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brothers. Thank you.
And the second time also he went for 1.5 years. When he was very sick, he went for the future generation in India. He thought that he should go and earn the money. Okay, thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother.
Brother Sairam, in the second paragraph, brother, where it starts from, if the Guru pay attention to the spiritual progress and inward joy of the disciple, that's right. The disciple themselves will struggle for the development of their ashram.
Yeah.
Why that?
No.
That sentence didn't make sense.
Saira, because the Guru is all out to help the spiritual progress of the disciples. So the disciple thought, as a what do you call dakshina, as dakshina, they wanted to help this Guru to build up structure, and it will help for future people like them. So that is the reason the disciple, because they put their energy to develop that ashram, because they benefited spiritually so much from that Guru. So if they help voluntarily, it's not by force. Voluntarily, they want to help that build the ashram, so that future people like them will benefit. That's what I wanted to say. I don't know whether you are satisfied, brother. Others can explain. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Anyone would like to share your thoughts?
I was going to say, Sairam, Victor Kanu sold his house in London to build a Sai school in Zambia. I think that too, Swami asked him when he was struggling for the money to build the Sai school. Also, MS Subbulakshmi gave up her house in Chennai for charitable purposes too.
Yeah. Victor Kanu's case, he wanted to help, and he said, I am willing to help, Swami. I don't find a means. He was volunteering to help. So he said, okay. He was ambassador in the UK, so he had a house in the UK. So he said, okay, if you are totally for this benevolence job, then you sell it. and they were happy to sell it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sai Ram, brother, can you read that sentence and see, please, whether it makes sense? Or I am misunderstanding something.
So what Swami is saying, sister, the Guru did not worry about the ashram. He just has to do his job as a Guru, which is to teach the disciple what they want to learn. Once he does it, the ashram will grow on its own. The ashram will grow on its own. For example, let me take the example of the super specialty hospital. Okay, Swami didn't come up with the super specialty hospital before the money showed up. Swami never came up. Okay, Isaac Tigret was a devotee of Swami for more than 20 years. Was going and coming. Swami didn't even talk to him. But in his own life, he found that he was a better person. He found the joy within himself or whatever, he found something. So he sold everything and went to Swami and said, Swami, I have this money, what can we do? And then Swami said, okay, maybe we'll build a hospital, you take the lead, you build it. So the thing is, it is not that Swami came up with an idea, okay, I need to build a hospital. Okay, Swami says, only when Isaac Tigret came and said, I have this money, I want to do something. He said, okay, do this. So what it basically means is Swami was not even focused on, okay, he didn't say, let me start the building and, let's do a hospital and then announce, any people give money. He didn't do that. If at all he wanted, he could have built the hospital, super specialty hospital about 30 years before. See, it's all example setting. Swami came and he was doing only his job, which is helping the devotee improve themselves and find peace within themselves. That is the only job which he did. Everything else just happened around him. That is what Swami is saying. Just focus on spiritual upliftment of the people who have come to you. The rest is, even if the super specialty hospital closes tomorrow, it's okay. Because what is more important is the spiritual upliftment of each person. And that's what Swami focused in his own life. So once that is done, naturally things will evolve around. People around you will volunteer to do things. They will spend their own time and effort and money and do things. But that is not the prime goal of a guru. Spiritual guru is the spiritual upliftment of the people who have come to them. I think that's what Swami is telling, sister.
Okay, thank you, brother. I was confused with the word of the struggle, why they are going to struggle, because
of course they will struggle, they will go out and they will give up everything.
Yes, okay, now I got it. Thank you. That's the word.
And Victor Kanu's question also, the thing is, sometimes we have great ideas. Like Victor Kanu was an example of that. He is from South Africa. He wanted to build a school to help people. So he has this nice grand idea and he came to Swami. And he came to Swami and said, Swami, I have this grand vision. What can I do? I don't have the means. Then Swami says, then you don't do it. Then he says, Swami, I have this great idea. I want to do. Then he said, what do you have? You have a house, then sell it and do it. See, it is not that he did it for Swami. Okay. If he has an idea, he needs to come up with the resources. If he comes to Swami, says, Swami, I have this great idea, you fund me, he will say no. If it is your idea, you do it. Okay. So sometimes that is like building ashram. So he said, the Victor Kanu sold it and started the school, and then it grew. So that is a grand classical example of how a devotee, Swami guided a devotee. Okay. That they need to sacrifice. And then the organization will run, the school will run. Okay, so that's what it is. So I will ask.
Good. Thank you so much.
Brother Dasan.
Brother. So my opinion is, I can think this way too. Suppose you are the sannyasi, you are teaching so many things. We are the followers, we are the disciples, for an example. So if you suddenly started to ask money and everything, then we all going to struggle. That devotees, everything, all the followers going to be struggle. then they will give up. So if someone gives voluntarily, he can accept that one. But if they started to ask money within the group, then the problem arises. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, brother Sairam. Sister Anita, please go ahead.
Yes, Sairam, brother. I think because Swami has already relinquished everything in the world for him, like our struggles are our struggles. I could be living in a very luxurious home and still struggle, and I could have nothing and still say I'm struggling. And some people give up all their worldly possessions, like whether in the name of Swami, whether in the name of charitable hospital, and they don't call it struggle because for them they have attained their path towards moksha or towards spirituality. Because I know when I was in San Francisco, I used to live there for a short period of time, and there was a very famous singer. She's a black lady, and Baba came in her dreams, and she gave up her palatial house, her luxury cars, everything. And she was a Swamini, like, she was in orange robe and she did not want anything to do. She gave up everything. And she said, it's the happiest time for me because for her, being in the luxury or the lap of money was more of a struggle, and giving up, like, she was more at peace and she enjoyed that. um, as like a lot of other people have also given up their houses, and some doctors just went to do the service, at Puttaparthi, and so I guess struggle is also different for everybody. And Baba feels like if we need the hospitals, we have to work for it. We have to build a temple. We have to work for it. It's for our own needs, I think. Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
Yes, yes. The struggle is for a good reason. That's the way we have to look at it here. Thank you, Simon.
The struggle is with against our own bad qualities. It's not.
Whether you give it willingly or struggling, that is up to us. It's not a struggle if it is for a good purpose. I think nobody will feel like that, Saira.
Yeah, it's relative. Struggle is very relative.
So the struggle, the name that's supposed to be in a different way, I think. Struggle, they will find a way to develop the ashramam with their willingness or with their effort. But when they put the struggle only, that it's confused a little bit. Thanks, Saira.
Yes, Saira, it might confuse, but usually that's okay. The confusion is there, okay. But in Baba's building, so many students, so many volunteers, they every stone, brick, they carried the bodily. The bodily, if you know that how the buildings was, this was not done like our houses. We living in one place and pay the money and the building comes up. No, so much of sacrifice, and brother only knows, they will know that one. So anything, even for the Swami, they want to put up ashramam, they would have labored so much, and only for a little money they needed, and they, whatever the way that they might have collected and build it. So physical sacrifice, laboring, all involved in setting up an ashramam and the buildings in Puttaparthi. That's what the word comes there. It's not that we have the money and just give and okay, my struggle is over. No. So that is what we have money, but we are not giving money. So the sacrifice, the so many things are there. So that's what Bhavan is saying. So paying money for an institution is not a good charity. It's not good charity. We ourselves have to involve physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually involved in that to set up that. Some people say, oh, I donated $500 to that orphanage, and they be happy. That is not the way Bhagavan is saying. No? Bhavan is saying, when you serve, do seva, you involve yourself. Share the joy and sorrow with the recipient of that. That's what the thing is, the other side of the word. Thank you,
I
sir.
think the sister's question is because of the word struggle. So if you look at the Telugu version, Swami says, I think Auntie Manibhashyam can, it's 273 page, Auntie.
273 Indian. వారి ఆనందమునే ఆశించిన ఆశ్రమ అభివృద్ధి జనులకు వారికే మీరు నిర్బంధ పెట్టవలసిన అవసరమే ఉండదు. అట్లుగాక వారి అభివృద్ధిని మాని ఆశ్రమ అభివృద్ధికై మీరు నాకు శిష్యులు. అదే I think that exactly that struggle word.
So Swami says, see, ఆశ్రమ అభివృద్ధి భక్త జనులు వారికి వారే చూచుకొందురు.
వారికి వారే చూచుకొందురు.
Swami says the expansion or the growth of the ashrama will be looked after by the disabled by themselves.
Yes, brother. That makes sense. No, once you come with the joy of inwardly, why you are going to struggle then? Yes. You won't struggle. That's what I was trying to understand.
Yes. You are right.
Aruna, don't stress on the word struggle. Here it means, doesn't mean that he is physically struggling. No.
No,
she's
even
struggling
mentally.
With the word struggle, Auntie.
Yeah, the word struggle is.
No, she is struggling with the word struggle.
Yes, of course, brother. Because if you are inwardly happy, why are you struggling? It all comes within you to do the service or develop the ashramam or do service over there. It's come. There's no.
So what Swami is saying is, if the Guru decide, what the words is basically, Vari Anandamune.
Vari Anandamune. ఆశించుచుండిన ఆశ్రమ అభివృద్ధి భక్త జనులు వారికి వారే చూచుకొందరు. They will take care of the disciples of the devotees. The devotees will take care of it.
Yes, Telugu version makes sense.
So Swami is saying, you focus on their own ananda.
Yeah.
On the Shishya's ananda, you focus. They will look after the ashrama. That's what Swami is saying.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so I think you are right, sister. Unfortunately, this translation can be a bit.
Yeah,
But Swami is very, very clear when he is saying that.
Yeah.
Yes, brother, because struggle won't come.
You don't worry about struggle, Aruna.
Okay. So if there's no other comment, we'll just read the next slide, Sister Kalyani.
Bhakta, besides all this, Swami, if anyone points out to them that it is wrong, they get wild and threaten severe punishment. Is that right, Swami? Swami, this is an additional wrong. How can it be right? It is not correct for any guru to weaken the heart of any disciple. He must please it and satisfy it. People who frighten and extract are not teachers, but cheaters. They are not shepherds, but sheep.
Swami is not mincing words here, actually. And so there's nothing for
Swami is punning on the word guru and then gurram.
I see.
Gurram means kudri, horse. He is punning on the word guru. Atanu guru anabadanu, gurre anabadanu. Yeah, Swami. Gorre anabadanu.
Anyone has something to say? So I mean, basically, I think it's same thing. I think we'll move on to the next slide if it's okay. Maybe we'll read.
Bhakta, then what do you advise us to do? How are we to deal with these people? Please tell us. Swami, my dear child, give up all talk of people who have lost their way. Speak of your reaching the path. Give up all contact with such persons and cultivate contact with such persons and cultivate contacts with places where there is neither lust nor greed nor any other desire. Seek for the Guru who looks on all with equal prema. The real Guru must have certain qualities. Note this. If those qualities are present, go there and be happy. If you do not get such a place, meditate on God within yourself. Do dhyanam and bhajana. That is enough. You need not search for another place at all. Whenever you have leisure, read good devotional books. Even from these books, take what you need and discard the rest. Be careful. Do not get entangled in all kinds of nets and traps.
Thank you very much, sister. So I think, Swami, for all this struggle which we went through, Swami at last is telling what we should really do, and it's clearly stated. So there's nothing for me to add. Please share any thoughts you all have. Saira. Yes, Brother Tagsin. You have to unmute yourself, brother.
So I like the sentence here, seek for the Guru who looks on all with equal prema. So the Guru is not supposed to differentiate the people. He's supposed to have equal prema with the disciple. And he has to think disciple and himself is same. Thank you, Saira.
In Telugu translation, Swami is saying, Kamini Kanchanamulu, Ashaleni Sthanamunu Cheru. Then we talk about the three Kamini, Kanchana, Kirti. These three go together. Kamini, Kanchana, Kirti. So one should not be with these three not good qualities there.
Yeah, that is not here in this. In
Telugu it is written.
Yeah, that is the woman, gold, and fame.
Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kamini, Kanchana, Kirti.
Yeah.
3 Ks.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, these are three desires.
Yeah, desires. 3 desires.
Yeah.
For women, for gold, and for fame.
Yeah.
Brother Sairam, now I think we studied before, the gurus must have certain qualities, right? Swami is stressing again here that if the gurus have to have certain qualities, otherwise he's not, he's asking to keep away those places, right? So that is something really we have to pay attention. And that for that only he's saying whoever seeing with the equal prema with the all. So what is that equal prema here, the Swami? Guru who looks at all with equal prema, he looked at everyone as same. Anything else you may think of?
Swami says, Sarva Jana Samana Premayayina, means you should have equal love on everyone. Everyone should be treated equally, is Swami saying. So you're asking, how do we find that out, or is it, how do we know? Is that the question, or?
Yes, so only Swami is referring to the love only. Am I right here, prema?
Yes.
And the biggest part is the We have to identify the real Guru.
Yes, sister.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
If we can't find until that time, Swami is also telling what sadhana we have to do. See, one sentence I found very interesting is whenever you have leisure, read good devotional books. Even from these books, take what you need and discard the rest. Okay. I found that a bit intriguing.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to share any thoughts.
So, Saram brother, here the real Guru must have certain qualities. Swami is talking about three gunas, words, thoughts, Trikarna Sutti, or some other things.
Brother, I think the second chapter or so, I think Swami has already discussed this, because I don't know whether you remember, one of the chapters starts with that, some Guru came, he gave a mantra, what do I do? Swami, that chapter Swami has discussed some of these things in detail. This is actually a revision.
Yes.
Swami is again reading.
And Sai Ram. And also, Dasan, the sister Banibhashya mentioned, here they say neither lust nor greed nor any other desire. So sister said that woman, gold and fame. So if one of these three is there, then he cannot be a guru. Understand? The real guru must have certain quality that's mentioned above.
So woman, gold, what's the other one? Desire.
Fame.
Okay, fame. So these are the things. Okay.
Yeah, in Tamil, Pannase, Puhalase. Yeah.
Brother, that sentence also, why Swami is saying, even from this book, take what you need and disregard the rest. Why Swami is stressing that again? Because we are reading Sandeha Nivarini and understanding Swami's words. Then why Swami at the end is saying that?
He's not referring his books actually. Bhagawan's each word is Veda, that's okay. But Bhagavan is saying other books, even from devotional books, sometimes some extra unwanted stuff could be there. We have to take what is good for us, what we can make use for our spiritual sadhana. No, that's even devotional books have some extra unwanted elaboration and everything.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
This is what I told one day. Oh, time is up. Okay, that's enough. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we will close. But I'll just one remark, and I see Sister Swami has already talked about Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavata. Okay. So, but the thing is, if people are still not reading any of them, so he's saying you should see when you have leisure. See, sadhana is not leisure. Okay, sadhana is full-time job. But there are many who take up spirituality only when during leisure time. So they pick up any and every book and read. And of course, when we read these books, Swami says you need to be careful what you pick from them also. I think that's my understanding, as Brother Sivadas already has mentioned. Any book, because under the name of spiritual book or devotional book, there are so many books.
So Swami is also saying the same. Manchi bhakti granthamulunu chaduvu అందులో నీకు కావలసిన వాని తీసుకో కానివి వదులు. He is not talking about, he is talking about general spiritual books which we all read.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
So I think it's 4:19. We will close today and we will continue from next week. I will close with Samastaloka. Saira.
Sairam.
Oh. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.